Do you know exactly when anti-black racism was invented? Do you know who invented it? This is the second of a series of videos I plan on doing on the creation of race as a social construct. If you're interested in when race or the idea of having a pure or better bloodline was invented, please check out the first video. In my prior video, I discussed when Europeans began to argue for the purity of their own blood. In this video, I'll talk about the first time this idea was applied to Africans. So the first European colonizer to construct race as a social idea was also the first exclusive trader of the enslaved from Africa. This was a dual effort of Prince Henry the Navigator of Portugal, who never really left Portugal. His older brother was king, and a man named Gomes de Zurara. In 1441, Prince Henry began to sponsor trips to West Africa to bring enslaved back to Portugal, thus opening the floodgates of what would become the transatlantic slave trade, a system of servitude unlike the world had ever seen. It should be noted that Pope Eugene IV sanctioned these trips, promising forgiveness for everyone involved. King Alonso V, not Henry's brother, he died by that point, eventually commissioned Gomes de Zurara to publish a glowing history of this conquest. And in 1453, de Zurara published the Chronicles of the Discovery and Conquest of Guinea, the first ever book published by Europeans about Africa. In this book, de Zurara was the first to categorize or homogenize all Africans into one specific type of people, and arguing they were inferior, thus it was okay to enslave them. This is, to my knowledge, the first in a long history of anti-black racist ideas. And Zurara's book contained a lot of racist ideas to justify Portugal's actions, and those ideas were eventually utilized by the Dutch, French, English, and Spanish to justify their participation in the slave trade. For one example, according to Zurara, and I've got to read this, quote, "Black people were living like beasts without any custom of reasonable beings. They had no understanding of good, but only knew how to live in a bestial sloth, so ugly, both in features and in body, as almost to appear, to those who saw them, the images of a lower hemisphere." He was a great guy, wasn't he? Real keeper. This is important not only because it created blackness, but also made whiteness, which is still doing what it has done for centuries. It gets people who think they are white to defend the status quo, to defend the systems, institutions, and policies that create unfair racial outcomes, which, since we know race is a fiction, a social construct, must be caused by historical and external factors. That's it. Hope that helps. Have a good day.